to ask for all the data on all these points, my answer will be, it is the right thing to do, and I do not have the data right now. But when we do pass this bill and we honor our veterans that sacrificed so much, I will get you the data when it gets compiled.
Again, you fail to answer my question.
I said I do not have the data.
All of your rhetoric.
I do not have
Excuse
the
me,
data.
I'm talking.
Okay.
I am talking.
Representatives.
I let you talk. It's my turn. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of your rhetoric. I, too, appreciate our veterans and their service and everything that they have given. My husband is a veteran. I understand you're a veteran. I thank you for your service. I thank all veterans for their service. But you're not telling the truth here when you say you're codifying into law. I know what the existing law states because I passed the existing law. The existing law did not include the spouses. Now, is it the right thing to do? That wasn't my question. My question was in regard to data and cost that is going to be pushed off onto other taxpayers. There's nothing in your bill that will relieve the tax burden for our seniors who are being taxed out of their homes. That is all that I'm trying to point out here, because it's very irresponsible to pass legislation if you don't have data, if you don't understand the cost, if you don't understand the impact to the other individuals. I am a taxpayer. I have a Navy base in my district. I have a lot of disabled veterans. I also know that that particular Navy base is in a very low-income district with very, very high property taxes. And those constituents of mine are complaining already that they are being taxed out of their homes, and yet we're going to pass something else that will increase their taxes with no data to support why, how much, or anything else. You keep saying minimal, but if you're talking low income, are we talking $100? Are we talking $1,000? Because it does make a difference to a low-income homeowner on whether or not they can afford to pay their taxes. That's all I'm saying, Representative. So,
as I mentioned, I do not have the data.
With that being said, thank you so much for this bill. I wanted to make sure that my points were on the record. I would appreciate in the future when you do another one of these bills, because I've said this to you privately and you still ignored it, I want data. And I expect that you would have data going forward. That's all I'm saying. Thank you so much.
Representative Ugasti.
Will the sponsor yield?
Indicate you yield.
Thank you. Representative Kifowit, just a quick question, because there was a lot of conversation. I want to make certain I fully understand. On the World War II veterans, does it matter whether they have a disability rating or not, or is it just if they served?
Under this bill, we appreciate all World War II veterans, and we are extending the homestead exemption to them. However, the majority of World War II veterans, it is widely understood, do have a disability rating.
Okay. So regardless of the disability rating, I understand wanting to include all World War II veterans. Is there a asset level check or a home value level at which we cap how much of it's going to be allocated for the exemption, or is it all exempted no matter what their home value is?
It follows the existing program we have in place right now.
Well, I'm asking, what does that mean? Is it a complete exemption? So let's say a World War II veteran has $1 million home. Is it a complete exemption then? Or
no, not $1 million. There's caps. The existing program has caps.
Okay, it does. All right, that's all I wanted to know. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Representative Kifowit to close.
I ask for an aye vote. I appreciate all the dialogue and support for our veterans.
The question is, shall Senate Bill 2315 pass? All those in favor vote aye. Opposed vote no. The voting is open. Have all voted a wish? Have all voted who wish? Have all voted who wish? Mr. Clerk, please take the record. On this question, there are 103 voting yes, 0 voting no, 1 voting present, and this bill, and received a constitutional majority, is hereby declared passed. On page 2 of the calendar appears Senate Bill 1559 under the order of second reading. Representative Ford. Read the bill, Mr. Clerk.
Senate Bill 1559, a bill for not concerning regulation. The bill was read for a second time previously. No committee amendments. Floor amendment number 4 is offered by Representative Ford.
Representative Ford on floor amendment number 4.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, I move to adopt House Floor Amendment number 4, and if you allow me to debate the bill on third.
Representative Ford has moved for the adoption of floor amendment number 4 to Senate Bill 1559. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the amendment is adopted. Third reading. Please read the bill, Mr. Clerk.
Senate Bill 1559, a bill for not concerning regulation. Third reading of this Senate bill.
Representative Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the House. Senate Bill 1559, as adopted, does 3 things. It's a simple bill. It's for transporters. It places a moratorium on the issuance of new transporter license. It provides relief from paying fees associated with existing transporter licenses for 3 years. And it also allows for the Department of Agriculture to have the ability to make changes in the transporter licensing to deal with any discrimination upon the completion of the disparity study once it's done. That's all the bill does. I move for the adoption.
On this question, Representative Tarver.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Ford, we had a chance to talk about this a few days ago. I just want to make sure for legislative intent, is it your understanding that if rules are to be adopted as it relates to this bill, they will come through JCAR?
Yes.
Okay. And it's not your intention with this bill for there to be emergency rules drafted, is that correct?
That's correct.
To go through the normal JCAR process, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Leader Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the sponsor yield?
Casey will yield.
Representative Ford, first and foremost, thank you for your work on this. I know this issue has been a significant concern for the transporters in our state, and I also thank you for helping me working through this in committee. So we are currently awaiting a disparity study that is already in progress. Is that correct?
Correct.
And with this bill, we are just going to we're going to put a hold on any more licenses for transporters in the state for 3 years.
Yes.
And we're also putting a hold on the fee for those licenses for 3 years, correct?
Correct.
And once we get the disparity study back, then folks will have some time to look through that and make some decisions as to how we move forward from there, correct?
Correct.
Thank you for your work. Appreciate it. I appreciate an aye vote.
Representative Ford to close.
Thank you very much. I'll urge aye vote.
The question is, shall Senate Bill 1559 pass? All those in favor vote aye. All opposed vote nay. The voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Have all voted who wish? Have all voted who wish? Mr. Clerk? Mr. Clerk, please take the record. On this question, there are 105 voting yes, 0 voting no, 0 voting present, and this bill, if received a constitutional majority, is hereby declared passed. On page 3 of the calendar, under the order of second reading, appears Senate Bill 1956. Representative Kifowit.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsorship changed on this bill to Representative Slaughter, so please acknowledge him.
Yes, the sponsorship has been changed to Representative Slaughter, although the board does not reflect. So on Senate Bill 1956, on page 3 of the calendar, order of second reading, please read the bill, Mr. Clerk.
Senate Bill 1956, a bill for an act concerning public employee benefits. The bill has been read a second time previously. Amendment number 2 was adopted in committee. Floor amendment number 3 is offered by Representative Slaughter.
Representative Slaughter on floor amendment number 3.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the adoption of House Floor Amendment number 3 and to discuss the bill on third reading.
Representative Slaughter moves for the adoption of House Floor Amendment number 3 to Senate Bill 1956. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. In the opinion chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. Third reading. Please read the bill, Mr. Clerk.
Senate Bill 1956, a bill for an act concerning public employee benefits. Third reading of a Senate bill.
Representative Slaughter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, today we honor Chicago's finest. I'm proud to present Senate Bill 1956, which has nearly 40 bipartisan co-sponsors. This bill recognizes the exemplary and admirable service of our hardworking and brave women and men of the Chicago Fraternal Order of Police. Senate Bill 1956 puts forth an important permanent pension fix that becomes ever more critical to our Chicago officers that are laying their lives on the line every day to keep our streets safe. This amendment is supported by both the Chicago FOP and the Chicago Mayor's Office. It represents a well-negotiated byproduct of a pension work group that was convened by the Chicago Mayor's Office this past summer. This bill is a pro-labor initiative that is all about parity. The General Assembly passed the same pension fix for the Chicago firefighters in 2019, and this bill will now bring Chicago police officers into parity with their first responder partners at the Chicago Fire Department regarding an issue that has been in law since 1967. It simply removes the birth date restriction for officers to receive their simple COLA. Since 1967, Chicago police officers have been paying half of 1% into this automatic COLA from every paycheck to the Chicago Patrolmen's Pension Fund. Once an officer turns 55 years old, he or she is eligible for this benefit, and customarily the General Assembly has come back every 5 years to adjust the date in statute to capture those new officers as they turn 55. The importance of the timing of this is that there are currently 1,500 Chicago police officers who have paid into this fund and need to receive the benefit they have paid into. Equally important, this will impact approximately 6,000 Tier 1 officers in the future and eliminate the need for any further legislation on this issue. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that this bill is bigger than just a pension fix. I believe it's very timely. As our state and nation continues to invest in efforts to make policing a more attractive profession, it's important here in Illinois that we not just talk about it, but that we demonstrate that we do and will continue to take care of our officers. And it's initiatives like this that will significantly enhance our local recruitment and retention efforts. I want to thank the Chicago FOP and the Chicago Mayor's Office for coming together and giving each other the mutual respect to get this done. It's a new chapter here in Illinois regarding police reforms, and this bill symbolizes the collaborative partnership, the collaborative spirit, and the goodwill that's needed to truly achieve safety, accountability, but also fairness and equity. I'd like to also recognize the leadership of Chairwoman Kifowit, Leader Burke, who spent her summer on the working group addressing these issues, and also Senate Chair Martwick. Without their efforts, this wouldn't have made it to the finish line. Let's honor our Chicago officers with this well-earned well-deserved pension fix. Please vote yes on Senate Bill 1956 as amended. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
On this question, Leader Windhorse
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the sponsor yield?
indicates he'll yield.
Thank you. Representative, just a few questions, just so I understand. Basically, annually or every General Assembly, we were going through and adjusting the born before language, and this would remove that permanently?
Yes, Leader, what we were doing is not every year, but every 5 years.
Every 5 years. Okay.
We would come back and adjust that date to capture those new officers as they turn 55.
Do we know what the cost will be of this permanent adjustment?
We do. One thing to note is that Chicago will be on the hook for this. It'll be approximately $70 million a year, per year.
Did you say 70 million per year?
70, yes.
And that will be borne by the city of Chicago?
That's correct.
Our analysis shows, of course, both the proponents, which you've referenced, and opponents. Looks like the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce, Civic Committee, Civic Federation. Do you know what their opposition is?
I do. Actually, I do not know what their opposition is.
A similar initiative was done, I believe, in the 101st General Assembly for firefighters. Is that accurate?
That's correct. Back in 2019, we made that. We voted for and passed that pension fix for the Chicago firefighters.
And this brings police officers into parity on that issue with firefighters.
This brings the police officers into parity with the Chicago firefighters.
Thank you.
On this question, Representative Ann Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the bill.
To the bill.
I just wanted to make a comment about something that happened recently in my district. Monday night, there were numerous attempted armed robberies at businesses throughout our Lincoln Avenue corridor. And in one of the cases, there was a person still in the business when the armed offenders came into the business. And in the wake of this incident, which shocked the community, I heard from many neighbors and business owners, and all of them shared a common theme, and that was their appreciation for the work that was done by the Chicago police officers that responded. So in the time of need in our community, and we've all been dealing with public safety issues if you're in Chicago as of late, I just wanted to emphasize that the community is grateful, and this is a long overdue change. And if you, Representative, if you'll add me to the bill, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Representative Calkins
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the sponsor yield?
indicates he'll yield.
Thank you. Representative, what is this going to add to the pension liability for the city of Chicago?
Again, I think approximately it'll be 70 million a year.
And how well funded is that pension plan? Underwater, is it fully funded, partially funded, not very well funded, one of the worst funded pension plans in the state?
Decently funded.
It's what?
Decently funded.
Reasonable. To whom?
I said decently. We'll get you the exact.
$3 billion underwater? $3 billion? Okay.
34%.
34% funded.
Yes.
And actuarial, we're going to add to that now.
Yeah, we're going to honor our officers and add to it. Yes.
Yes. So will you promise us that you're not going to come to this body to bail out that pension fund when we honor that?
Promise you what again? I'm sorry?
Not come back to this body, not come back to the taxpayers of the state of Illinois to properly fund or to fund that pension plan.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so you're not coming to us to fund that pension plan when you run out of money.
Yes, and let me just note, Chicago has budgeted for this particular initiative too, Representative.
Very good. I just want to make sure that my taxpayers aren't going to be on the hook to fund the pension plan for CPD.
They will not be on the hook.
Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, to the bill.
To the bill.
Thank you very much. If this is what the city of Chicago wants to do, I'm not going to stand in the way of it. I do find it rather ironic, and I hope the other members of this body find it ironic, that the one person who caused so much destruction, harm to our police departments around this state with the Safety Act is now standing before us praising police officers and asking us to increase their pension plans. Thank you very much.
Representative Slaughter to close.
Let's honor our Chicago officers with this well-earned, well-deserved pension fix. As it relates to reforms, we've never have ever trumpeted the rhetoric of defunding the police. We have never trumpeted the rhetoric of not honoring, not respecting our police officers. What we're saying is that some changes are needed. We know that it's not easy to make these changes. That's why when it comes to the mayor giving them a new contract, when it comes to this initiative in regards to making this pension fix, we do that in honor and to show the mutual respect that we have for those officers that lay their lives on the line. With that said, please vote yes on Senate Bill 1956 as amended.
The question is, shall Senate Bill 1956 pass? All those in favor vote aye. All opposed vote nay. The voting is open. Mr. Clerk, please take the record. On this question, there are 94 voting yes, 8 voting no, 1 voting present, and this bill, having received a constitutional majority, is hereby declared passed. 584, Representative Didich. Mr. Clerk, please read the bill.
Senate Bill 584, a bill for an act concerning gaming. The bill is read for a second time. Previously, no committee amendments. Floor amendment number 2 is offered by Representative Lisa Hernandez.
Representative Didich on floor amendment number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Floor amendment 2 addresses 3 issues. One's a technical matter for the lottery. One's concerning the Waukegan temporary casino. One is the payment scheduled to the city of Des Plaines. I ask for its adoption.
Representative Didich moves for the adoption of floor amendment number 2 to Senate Bill 584. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. And the amendment's adopted. Third reading. Please read the bill, Mr. Clerk.
Senate Bill 584, a bill for an act concerning gaming. Third reading of the Senate bill.
Representative Didich.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 584 is a mini package of 3 gaming issues. First, the lottery issue relates to the implementation of the joint special cause ticket that we passed earlier this year. It clarifies that the state treasurer, at the direction of the comptroller in the Department of the Lottery, shall transfer revenue from the joint special cause ticket into the specific funds for each cause. Second is the Waukegan temporary casino. Under current law, owner licensees are authorized to operate a temporary casino for up to 3 years while they are constructing their permanent casino. What this legislation does is it extends the time period by which the Waukegan temporary casino can operate by 18 months. So for Waukegan, it'll go from 3 years to 4.5 years. The third issue is the Des Plaines payment acceleration. Under current law, the city of Des Plaines is entitled to an annual payment of $5 million per year from the state gaming fund, beginning on the first day that the South Suburban Casino conducts gambling operations. This bill will accelerate those payments so that they will begin 30 days after the effective date of this bill. I'm happy to answer any questions.
On this question, Leader Kiker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the sponsor yield?
Indicates a yield.
Representative, thank you very much for working so diligently on this. I know we had a bunch of different discussions on different aspects of this measure that were being considered and ultimately wound up in the bill. Just some confirmation from our side for purposes of the record. So we really are limited to 3 items in here, correct?
Yes, the 3 items that I mentioned are the only matters addressed in this bill.
Okay, and there's no information in here that we can see concerning any of the Racino information that was in there in an original version, correct?
This bill that we're voting on has no change in current law related to the racinos.
Thank you for working so diligently. I urge an aye.
Senate Bill 584 passed. All those in favor vote aye. All opposed vote nay. The voting is open. Have all voted a wish? Have all voted who wish? Have all voted who wish? Mr. Clerk, please take the record. On this question, there are 90 voting yes, 14 voting no, 0 voting present, and this bill, having received a constitutional majority, is hereby declared passed.